Hi, I'm Nick Thielen, and growing up somebody that had cerebral palsy, I always loved sports, but I never knew if I was going to be able to pursue them. But over the years, I've been able to ski, I've been able to play sledge hockey, and I've been able to play basketball. But there's also a lot of sports that I didn't know about and I wanted to learn about. Like, why does a person with a visual impairment want to play a sport that has a ball coming at them at 60 kilometers an hour with a blindfold on? And why does somebody with adaptive skis want to go down a double black diamond ski hill? Those are the kind of things we're going to look at today on Love of the Game.
My name is Dustin Butterfield, and I grew up in the central Alberta area, playing hockey and other sports. I went off to university, got my degree in electrical engineering, and I've worked in the utility industry since then. ASRAB stands for Alberta Sports and Recreation Association for the Blind, and they're an incredibly important organization because they're bringing sports and recreation activities to people that are partially sighted or completely blind. And those people don't have the same opportunities to go out and get involved in sports. So the mission of ASRAB is very important to get those people active and increase their fitness level and increase their mental health. Yeah, I just started to play goal ball.
What kind of adjustments are there from goal ball to blind hockey?
Well, it's so much. Goal ball is so much different from hockey. I mean, in blind hockey, you're still utilizing whatever vision you have as a skater. In goal ball, it's a completely level playing field because anybody playing goal ball is wearing an eye shade. They have zero vision, so they're operating all based on sound and positioning.
My name is J.R. Bjarnson. I am visually impaired. I have a rare eye condition called Peter's anomaly. Peter's anomaly is scarring of the cornea, so it impacts my vision horrifically. Basically, the only way I can describe it is it's winter, you're coming in from the outside, you wear glasses, you go inside, and well, your eyes get very foggy. It's a foggy world for me 24/7. I was born with it, so I never really had to get used to it. So this is the goal ball. This is the ball that we use in goal ball. And as you can hear, there is a bell inside. And then you take about 3 to 4 steps and you throw it down the court, kind of like you're bowling in a sense. And your main goal is to have the ball so fast that it will go through the net, and there's 3 people on each side, and you got your defense and your offense and your middle player, and yeah, that's basically it. It's almost like a basketball, but it's quite heavy, hey Nick? And yeah, it's really fun and scary. In fact, I think the most exhilarating part is when you're about to get hit by the ball. Once you get the first shot to the belly, you realize it's not that bad and it's all right. But these balls will roll at you at around 65 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, that was really good. So do your last step here, so hit your last phase here. So face me, turn. Okay, so switch the camera. Correct. Side position. Yeah. Correct. Yes. But you gotta get low.
So you're right knee.
No, not that low. Not that low, but you gotta get low. You gotta get it from your foot up. You can't be up here. Because if you want to throw a smooth shot, you gotta get your hand on the ground. Right. If you're throwing a skip or a bounce, then you don't have to get that.
Yeah.
My name is Brianne Baldock, and I've been playing goalball for about 6 years now.
And what is it about goalball that drew you to the sport?
Just the fact that it was adaptable to anybody. Everyone's on the same playing field when we play, so it actually is really nice because even if you're different levels of vision, everyone can see nothing. So that's what really brought the attention to it to me, was because everyone's on the same playing field, so no one has an advantage. With goalball is a lot of mental, so you really have to just kind of stay out of your own head, because you're hearing it coming and you're like, oh, that sounds fast, but you have to ignore those things and just focus on getting in front of that ball. Like, my mind is literally just saying, get the ball, and trust yourself and know that you will get there. And if it hurts, it hurts. I don't even think about hurting anymore. I used to, but it doesn't even faze me now. So
tell me about what kind of things you've been doing to prepare for the Paralympics.
We've been doing lots of training. I actually built a home gym in my garage, thanks to my brother and my parents for letting me fit that in there, so that's awesome. Yeah, it's been really challenging through the pandemic with little court time available to us, but we've made it work. Backyard training sessions, my boyfriend stopping the ball for me and throwing it back to me, and just trying to do as much as we can to prepare the best we can. So we're working with our mental performance coach, actually, with the national team. So she's been working really closely with us, and again, kudos to her. She's 100% amazing at her job, and she is great with making sure that we know how to mentally be there. Because, like I said, it is a very mental sport. So yeah, she definitely is working a lot on visualization, a lot of just leading up to the games now, just self-care, and mental health is the biggest thing that we're working on, is just being present and just enjoying the experience, but also focusing on a performance and enhancing the best we can. So we have a lot of things in place that are pretty new to us, but we're so open to suggestions to just peak our performance the best we can.
So I have been involved with goalball for over 40 years. I was a player in the early years. I kept playing competitively up until about 2009. I've been coaching since 2011. I've been with the women's national program as their head coach since 2013. In Alberta, we have 2 Paralympic athletes on the men's side, and we have 2 on the women's side. One of the women going to Tokyo isn't here today. So the 2 women that I coach that are going to Tokyo, Megan Mahan, she lives in Calgary. Her first Paralympic experience was in Rio in 2016. So she's actually one of our stronger players. She plays both center and wing. Bree, who you saw today earlier, it's her first Paralympics. She made the team this year, and Bree her defensive side of the game, and she plays both wing and center as well.
He has been there every step of the way for me. He's been my coach since I started, and yeah, he's an amazing coach, and he truly does care deeply about his athletes and wants them to be the best they can be. So I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him, and the 2 people that got me started in goalball, Carrie Anton and Viviane Foray. They're previous Paralympians in goalball, and Viviane did skiing, and she was my mentor. So if it wasn't for her and Carrie and Trent, I would not be playing, and Azrab, of course, the people who put this all together for us.
Is there certain things that you hope for in the future, or things that you're working towards now, and how you might hope to see it grow?
Well, certainly the growth of sport for athletes living with a disability has grown immensely. I mean, some of the best athletes in the world who are Paralympians have reached the top of the mountain. They really have. But those athletes can turn around and become role models and mentors to not only help other younger athletes become more high performance athletes, but they can set the scale. They can be the leaders to make changes in this world, whether that be the laws that govern our world, whether they be attitude, whether they be educational experiences, or everything in between. So our work isn't yet done. We've come a long way in the last 50, 60 years, but we still have so much more work to do. And it's so nice to now see former Paralympians come back into their home country, their home community, and help in coaching, help in teaching, help in creating awareness, getting into the media industry. Our Paralympians are going back and making a difference because there's still so much work to be done.
What would you say to anybody that hasn't ever tried goalball before? Like, I'm about to try goalball for the first time today.
Ooh, exciting! Congratulations. I would say the biggest thing is just trust yourself. It's actually pretty amazing how you can rely on your hearing and just know that you have to go to a certain side. It's pretty amazing that you can do that and just trust your hearing and trust your senses.
I'll teach you how to sort of sit on your butt. Yes. Perfect. That's just starting. Okay, all you can do now is you just fall, slide down the side, and get your arms out straight. Perfect. Turn. Yeah, that's what you want. You want to protect in case the ball comes in here. I will go roll a ball at you slowly. You can have no eye straits on yet. Just steady. Okay. Is that right? All right. Good luck. Oh boy. Okay, so the back will go up on your hip. Okay. I will throw the ball like I just did, no harder. Okay. And when you hear it, lie down. 5, please. Play.
Oh, there's a ball there.
Nice!
Okay, one more.
I think I gotta stretch my hands out better.
Yeah, just make sure that top arm is
Cover your base, ready?
your face.
Okay.
5, please. Play. Alright, yeah, first. Yeah, I guess. Ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Play. What do you think?
It's awesome. It's definitely an adjustment with the glasses. Yeah, well, it was awesome. Like when you get the glasses on, it is just pitch black. So literally, you have to really focus on the sound of the bell, and then try to stretch yourself out and I guess move as quickly as you can and try and get the ball to hit you is the idea. But definitely, I think the movement is going to be that's a difficult thing to learn. But yeah, it's just I think once you get used to the idea that you're like in the dark and your eyes adjust to that, then you become more. Becomes a little bit easier. And the bell definitely helps a lot. But it is. Yeah, I think it's just the combination of movement and then the speed of the ball. You don't exactly know when to prepare to lay down.
It has a great impact for therapeutic reasons. I'm not a very active person. You know, I do have 5 kids, but all we do is run around and wrestle. it's pretty simple. But when you're actually with other people, there's a line of trust and friendship, and it gets you out of the house. This has impacted me for the better part because it helps me deal with my anxiety and panic I face in my daily life. It's recommended that you go to your local Play It Again Sports or wherever you get your hockey equipment or sports equipment in general, and you go to a sports store and you want to get yourself volleyball elbow pads and knee pads, because when you're playing go ball, you're on your knees a lot. And you're on your knees because you have to be on your knees to look for the ball as it rolls towards you. If there's one piece of advice I would add for anybody listening or watching the program is get out there and do something that intimidates you, but not something that will threaten you. I was a big fan of just watching. It was very hard for me to get on and try to do sports, and now that I've tried, I absolutely love it. And you can hear the joy in people who play sports. And one thing I've learned about myself is if I'm not doing something, I get easily sad and unhappy, and it's really hard for me to want to get out of the house. But when I have activities from ASRAP and other places like sports, I am out there. And I told my wife yesterday after we came home, I said, I think this is the first day that I've had where I didn't hear the negative voice in my head tell me what I couldn't do because I was too busy living life. So I always recommend, go live life, go try a new sport, go walk around your block, see what happens, get to know someone. Not everybody bites. And yeah, that's a piece of advice.
Well, that was awesome hearing all those inspiring stories. And if you enjoyed that, check out this next piece on skiing.
My role with CADS is an instructor, and I've been in CADS for quite a few years, over 50 years. But I do a lot of on-hill training with the slide and ride now with CADS across the province. We have 8 zones. We got places in Pincher Creek, Blairmore, Cold Lake, Grand Prairie, West Loch, Red Deer, Calgary, Edmonton, and Alliance. And we're looking for more places that we can go and bring out people with disabilities so they can go to their fullest extent of skiing or any sport, snowboarding.
Myself, it's always been in the family. Where he went, I went. I try to help out as much as possible. But growing up in a skiing family like we have been, it just everything follows into suit, and it's part of the family thing that we've always done ever since I was a child.
We started out as the Amputee Ski Association in Alberta in 1971. Then we went through that and we changed over to the Alberta Association of Disabled Skiers. In 1976, Jerry Johnson was the ski school director at Sunshine Village, and he took it over and we became Canadian Association of Disabled Skiers Canada. We're bringing the awareness of the people with disabilities out to the public. We don't want to say that, well, you can do this and do that, but we want them out, in like we're doing here today, doing this interview with me. We're getting the awareness out there. This is what we need for people with disabilities, regardless of what age they are.
Like Gord was saying here, it's like getting them out of the shell, giving them the opportunity to be the person that they strive to be. They strive so much to be as an equal part of society as anybody else, but nobody's ever given them the chance to do it, or there's never been the option for them to move forward or to expand their horizons in adaptive sports.
And our wage with CADS, or being an instructor with people with disabilities, is smiles. We don't count dollars. Everybody's a volunteer, and all we do is count the smiles we get. And that's our increase in wages.
That's the benefit at the end of the night. Is the glitter in the corner of their eye and the big smile, and they're looking at their parents. They get like Gina, she gets all so excited that her composure just collapses because her excitement mode is just right up to the expectations of higher than what she ever thought she could ever dream of doing.
I've been involved for 35 years. The proudest thing was when I was able to ski by myself.
Gina, I started out with, it was over 10 years.
16 years ago.
16 years ago. It was 90% me doing the work, 10% her.
They've been with me since I was like 12 years old. 12 years old. They just helped me, give me my freedom. When I first started skiing with Gordon and all of them, I couldn't even stand up by myself. They had to hold me up with a harness.
Now at this day and age, she can pretty much ski on her own, but it's taken her all that time. And composure, people skills, I can't do this. There's no such word as can't in an instructor. It's always up to the individual. We try to push you a little bit harder, but we also don't like to let you get away with a lot of stuff either. Well, saying I can't, or I know you can do it.
And now I'm skiing all by myself like you guys would, with independently, with my outriggers and my skis, and I'm able to turn like you would down the hill. They don't see your disability, they see your capability or your ability to be able to ski down the hill.
With Gina, it's 16 years of great friendship, great fun, lots of sit-down time on the hill because we've lost composure and we just sit there for 20 minutes and laugh until we get our stuff back together again, and then we keep on going.
It makes me feel very proud, and the freedom, it makes your heart just explode with excitement, and like, wow, I can do this with my disability and my leg. I can still, it feels like I'm on cloud 9.
Dad's been with Colby ever since day one. But they were both there at the beginning, so.
The day I got Colby, they phoned me from the school in Silver Lake. We got a bad lad here, it's CP'd. Okay, can we take him skiing? Yes, bring him out. We can get him skiing. I got his grandma phone and the school principal and everybody else, the doc, and he said, what do you do? And the day we the school came out, we had Colby, and I took him on, and I says, he can do it. All you got to do is take a little patience, take time. And on one of the posters that we used, Colby and I are down in the corner, and he was only 12 years old then.
I am Colby. I have cerebral palsy. I started with CADs about, since I was 10, 12 maybe, so 15, 16 years about. When I started skiing, it was just simply staying up, just a little bump would knock me over, and now I can fly down Black Diamonds, no problem. And yeah, that's the, progression I have came to skiing. I find my balance is way better now than it used to be. Like, the reaction time I have to falling over, and even like sliding on ice for a few feet, it's I've seen people wipe out on ice, and I'm standing up, and I've just, I have a knack for not falling on slippery surfaces, because I've skiing on slippery surfaces for years, so it's just, I've done it for so long, I can't even imagine. Somebody were to try it and afraid to do it, just don't think about doing it, just go do it. Like, don't think about crashing, don't think about anything else. Just try not to fall over and enjoy it. If I break a cable or whatever, they're always good to like help me out, or even like fix my equipment.
We have to adapt the bindings or anything like that, make the bucket smaller or larger, that's what we do. But the machine, the student, we make it work for them. This is adjustable, and when this one's in, that's all the way in. If we have somebody fairly heavy, it'll be close to the machine, and if somebody's fairly light, it'll be way out on the outside. And this can be a quad ski. I didn't put a pin in this one.
Ready. Gotcha.
Can I touch your body?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. When we get under your arm. How's that?
Up and over. Usually we'll snug up tight.
Yeah.
So usually when I have all the ski gear and the boots are on, everything will be. So if he's got his ski boots on, then I can actually reef it in there, and I can just. He's going to be a part of the sled as we get going, right? So we pull the release, and open up for the leg straps. Push through, and when we suck up, because everybody's got their gear on, we make sure everything's all folded in and adjusted nicely. And then with the chest, for the belly, we come back through. This will be adjusted and snugged up so he is part of the bucket. And then when our
Once
chest,
you're in there.
right? And then your chest piece.
And your buttocks will not move around in the bucket. If it does, then that's when we put foam padding in the back. Or
Then he becomes one with the bucket. He is the bucket. It is part of him now.
if he had longer legs, this footrest will come out. It'll come out another 4 inches. Just
Unfortunately, I think I'm done growing.
Hey?
I think I'm done growing though.
Yeah.
I've always been pretty short.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So, but then we get a lot of them. You get long-legged people, and we make sure if they're thighs and her knees aren't touching the seat, we will put a foam under there because it's a lot of pressure on these legs.
You know, for a first time trying the bucket, it's very secure, you know. I like the back support and yeah, and it seems pretty easy to tilt to one side kinda and give that a go, so.
That's why I'm back
So
here.
this is kind of like the training wheels they have on a bike, and it's sort of like
Very
that.
much,
right?
right, very much so.
And then now it's whoa, yeah, now it's a whole different
Okay,
ball.
we're on the snow. This outrigger would be way over here.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And opposite goes for this side.
Oh, yeah. That's probably the biggest adjustment is the.
And then when it goes all the way over, you're eating snow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did that a couple times with just the regular skis too, though.
So get your outrigger set there. Release the cable so your skis are facing forward. So you're in the go position.
There we go.
So saying we're going into a left turn. Where would your outrigger go?
Look ahead, don't look down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair, yeah.
Right. And then the opposite goes to this side. So you're coming in. Remember, this is going to be your balance arm too, right?
Oh yeah, so I guess you
You can move that one up anywhere you want.
Yeah. And just remember, I'm going to let you go. Just sit straight in the middle of the bucket.
You can't go.
See?
Can't fall too much.
Yeah.
No.
But if you move around, if you transfer your weight, you see how that goes,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That goes on for both sides. So we try to stable you in the center of the bucket because that's where your twist and your pivot is going into your turns.
Okay, we're gonna load you this time. Going up. So you may as well put it in the crutch position. There we go. Going up. Second story. Okay, Ian, give him a little lift.
Whoa. Okay.
There.
So this is for the chair.
Position for the chairlift. Yep.
That makes sense. Okay.
And then once we get onto the chair, everything just levels out because you're sitting onto the seat, right?
Yeah.
So to lift a big heavy dude like that, how much force does it take to get him into the
A bit.
second position?
A bit, yeah.
Is it 10 pounds, 5 pounds?
Well,
20?
you take what he's weighing,
Yeah.
plus the weight of the bucket. So, and then whatever spring load we have in here, whatever it's rated for,
Mm-hmm.
and you may take a quarter of the weight off. So it's nice because usually you have two people when you're on the bucket going up the chairlift. So it's a joint effort between two people to do the lift. And now if you pull your clips back on your right hand side there, and then I'll let you down.
Can you reach
My
it?
clip.
Right there. Here, now right down there. Hold that this thing. Yeah, hold that. Just stick shift. There you go. There you go. And you're locked in.
Well, I started with cats in 1999 and Gord got me going and the experiences have been awesome. I remember the first fella that I helped learn how to ski or taught how to ski, and Gord had me out and we were on either side of a long pole and he was hanging on in the middle and we were taking him up and back on the flat surface. And he got to the point where he wanted to go down the hill. So Gord took me over to the little handle toe. We got up, not very far, maybe about 10 feet or so. Took my ski pole, held it sideways for him, and we slid down to the bottom. I'd never seen so much excitement on a little guy's face, ever. And it was awesome. It's just the fun of doing it. Being able to get out skiing every week with kids or adults, whoever, that are just really excited about being there.
I initially got involved in 1989 after the 1988 games in Calgary. I saw the demonstration sport of disabled skiing, and I'd never seen anything like that before and was really taken by leg amps and arm amps that were in a competitive environment. So shortly after that, a gentleman by the name of Ted Rhodes that ran the Learn to Ski program, CADS program in Calgary, convinced me to come and volunteer. And it took him some cajoling to get me involved, but once I volunteered, I immediately fell in love with the community of people and the tenacity and the desire that people had to be involved in sport and recreation. So that's how I got started. And it's been a 30-year journey essentially of being involved with CADs in different elements of what I did. And I was lucky enough to evolve quickly from instructing to coaching, became involved as the provincial team coach for Alberta for the disabled ski program. And in 2000, I ended up becoming the head coach for the Canadian Paralpine ski team for Canada, and spent 4 years in that program. Worked a lot on the development side in Alpine, and from 2009 to 2011, I was head coach of the para-athletics team for Canada. And then I spent a period of time leading to London 2012 working with the Canadian Equestrian Paralympic program. So I've been very blessed to work with multiple sports in the disability side. So when I look at the Paralympic Games, I've been lucky enough to be to 7 Paralympic Games. Each of those games has been a progression of educating people in those countries. So I was very lucky to be the team leader, the chef de mission for the Paralympic team in Sochi in Russia in 2014. And it was fun simply working with volunteers from that country who were experiencing disabled sport for the first time. So it felt like you were leaving a legacy every country you go to as to educating people as to the fact that people with disabilities have every right to be involved in sport and recreation. And it's an opportunity that creates engagement, it creates opportunity for those people to build confidence, and that confidence carries over into their own personal life.
This is what we use for teaching skiing too. We have the hula hoop and this here, but this is very good for snowboarding. We're teaching young ones with snowboarding. And we make this fit them, and then you can come in the front and hang on to it. But we haven't got that too tight on it. You can get the side and the back. You can get them to slide left and right, and you're controlling.
That's how you move the
hip move front, back. This is called the snowboarding. We have one of these at Red for all the ski hills that are teaching snowboarding have one of these.
We have a young little girl, her name is Kenzie. She's your next future Olympian. That's how determined and she wants to achieve, and just because she has a disability, that's not going to stop her.
We found it was really hard to find programs that Kenzie could do, along with her twin sister Cadence. And this popped up and she was really excited about it, and we thought we would give it a try. And she did amazing. She loved it. The first couple times she went down the hill, she killed it. She did awesome. And she liked going fast. She wasn't scared at all.
No.
Yeah, and that's how we started CADS. We just thought we'd give it a go 1 year, and she loved it. I remember the first time she went, just sitting at the bottom of the hill, like bawling. I had tears running down my face, her and her auntie and her dad. It was emotional. It was really neat to see something that was very freeing for her, and just seeing like the confidence that she had and the smiles every time. It was something we hadn't seen in her before, so it was pretty cool.
Kenzie, good job!
Yeah, so my husband snowboards and I ski, and it was something as a family that we thought we would never really get to be able to do. It was something that me and my husband thought, okay, we can't really do this anymore. Our oldest daughter snowboarded. And then when our twins started the CADS program, we knew that it was something we could do as a family, that our whole family could go out, we could all do something together, and we never thought that would have happened. So it's very, very neat that there is stuff out there that she can participate in and that we can do as a family, and that we don't have to give up on those things. Their school, they always do like the skiing and snowboarding field trips, and I remember our older daughter asking, well, how will they participate in it? And CADS was incredible. They had their volunteers meet us at the hill for their school field trips, and I remember all the kids would just gather around and stare at her, and they thought it was so cool. And a couple kids asked her, like, well, why are you coming on the field trip? And she was like, well, I'm going to ski faster than you. That's why I'm coming. And it was cool. It was neat for all of her friends to gather around, and they were kind of in awe. Yeah, she got to show off a little bit. It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to do it without Gord and Ian. They've been incredible. They make everything custom for her. We met in Gord's garage, and he suited her up, and anything that didn't work, they modified, they fixed up for her. Yeah, she couldn't do it without them. Yeah, they're everything.
Mm-hmm.
They go out of their way, they go above and beyond. They're incredible. The program's incredible. They make everything work for each specific child and their specific needs. Yeah, so she definitely had a custom sit ski, and she does have a lot of tight muscle tone, and they worked with that.
The day she registered, she came in, she says, I'm going to do it. She had her fist doubled at me, and she says, I'm going to do it. So she was very weak in the upper arms, so I got her a 2-pound weight. And I said, I want you to lift this weight in the morning and at night before you go to bed.
I would say just her feeling involved and feeling a part of things. It's given her a lot more confidence. It's given her
Brave.
She's brave.
No.
Yeah.
Not fear.
No, you're not afraid of anything.
No.
Yeah, and I think that first time being scared to go, and then just like having that freeing feeling. And I think she's brought that into other parts of her life too, and other sports. And I found before CAD, she didn't really participate much in sports or school activities. And now she loves it. She loves swimming, sports ball.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it just gave her a lot of confidence in the sports world, and knowing that she is able to do things, and she can try.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now you're a little athlete. I would say to any other parent that you have to give it a shot. It's incredible. She was very nervous. She was very scared at the beginning, and which made me a little hesitant. But as soon as we went and did it, it was awesome. Like, to any parent out there, you have to give it a try. It's incredible and emotional. Yeah, and just seeing what she can do. We never knew that she could do those sorts of things, and the team that puts it all together and the volunteers that come out to help, they're awesome, and we couldn't do it without them.
So what does it feel like to you when you're able to, what do you feel like at the end of the day when you're able to accomplish something like that and tell your friends that you went skiing?
That to just be brave and believe in yourself, and that you can do anything.
All right, that was really awesome. If you want to check out some more stuff, let's check out some blind hockey.
What?
Like if you're familiar with the
Oh,
building.
yeah, for sure. Hi guys. How are you going? How are you today? Good. How are you guys? So we got dressing rooms 1 and 3. Whatever you guys like. We got I think most of the guys right now are piled into 3. But yeah, no, it's great. This is Matt, by the way. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Or sorry, Mitch.
Oh yeah, Mitch. Yeah, Mitch. Dustin, you know me from before. Yeah. Volunteer Mitch.
Yeah. Coming through.
I've been with Bullseye Blind Hockey now for 2 years. I'm a student at Red Deer College, studying to be a social worker.
How you feeling? All ready to go?
Are you recording right now?
I am, yeah.
Oh my god. I am so out of shape. It's been too long. I'm already exhausted. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Yeah. I'm super excited for this. So
I'm noticing that there are kids and adults. So is this like an all ages kind of a thing?
yeah, all skill levels. Yeah.
Nice.
There's goalies everywhere.
So many goalies. What's going on here? This is a third goalie here.
It's a stampede.
Isn't there a limit?
There could be. I hear you only need 2 on the ice at one time, but you know, if 2 are good, 3 must be better, right?
That's Corey in there, isn't it? Oh yeah. Well, you put your eye shade on?
No, not yet. I'll put it on once I get to the end. I can get it.
Yeah, you'll be good with that. What's that? You coming? We're here in the arena today with the Red Deer Bullseye blind hockey team. Our first time out in many months, getting out on the ice and playing some blind hockey. The drill that we did at the beginning of the practice was a modified horseshoe drill. Where you come out and you pass to the coach, skate around them, and retrieve a short pass back. In blind hockey, it's easier if you can make the drills like a shorter pass, get a little closer to seeing the puck and hearing the puck. It's really hard to catch a pass that goes all the way across the ice. I'm the founder of the Central Alberta Bullseye blind hockey team, which is based here in Red Deer, Alberta.
And what was your reasoning for starting in a team?
I started playing blind hockey in 2017, and I didn't know what to expect when I first came out for a game. But after starting playing, I was hooked on the sport. I just loved the competitive nature of hockey and the camaraderie of teammates. So after playing blind hockey for a few years, I had the idea that I would come back to Red Deer and start a club. Right now, there are also blind hockey teams in Edmonton and Calgary, the Edmonton Seahawks and Calgary Sea Ice Dogs. So I just thought there would be people around Red Deer that would be looking to play hockey, even if they are visually impaired. So I came back here and started to try and find the people and put together the right resources to start the Bullseye Blind Hockey team.
You guys mentioned blindfolding. Is that a normal part of when you get into an actual game? Is it just the goalie blindfolded and everybody, or is it just a practice thing?
Yeah, it's regulation for goalies, and any goalie, no matter how much sight they have, to wear a blindfold to make it fair. They could be completely blind, they'd still have to wear some sort of eye covering.
So at a blind hockey game, at any tournament, the goalies will all have blindfold on. Even if they have no vision, they still wear a blindfold. All the skating players at a game or tournament are not blindfolded. They use whatever vision they have to play the game. In fact, you see that I have a white helmet on. That's because in blind sports, I'm rated as a B2 player with 5% or less vision. At a tournament, you'd see also black helmets who are rated as a B3, which means they have 6 to 10%. So if you go to a blind hockey tournament, you will always find one team that's wearing bright yellow color, and the other team will often wear a dark color, so they could be wearing black, dark blue, or red. And the purpose of that is that yellow and black really show up out there on the ice. If you had white jerseys and white socks, you really can't see the players on the other team very well. So we're always wearing yellow on one team and a dark color on the other. Well, I'm just really happy to be out here playing and to have Corey come into the sport as a player first and then be transitioning over to be a goalie. And yeah, it's just awesome. It's awesome to see him and some other people come into the sport who never played hockey before. And now here they are.
Here we are. Yeah, no, actually that's a good point. Yeah, I've never ever thought I'd be able to play hockey, and I'm here and because of you actually, Dustin, but I love every second of it and I can't wait to do more. Never thought I'd be able to play hockey, so I never actually thought I'd ever like hockey, but now that I play, I understand the love of the game.
I love hearing people share all these amazing stories. Well, next, let's check in with Scott. Scott's somebody that I recently met, and we became really close friends. He has an adaptive cycle, and cycling is something I've always wanted to try. So let's check in with Scott and hear his story.
Well, I am Scott Douglas, and I live in Stettler, and I love life with a sincere passion. I'm all about making life the most motivating thing ever, and I had my accident in 2004 due to a snowmobile wreck. I hit an approach at 70 mile an hour and crashed into a bison fence, and that's what paralyzed me from the L1 vertebrae down. But from 2004 till 2007, I was big involved in Red Deer here with good old sledge hockey. I was with the Red Deer team here for 3 years, and I'm big into hand cycling as well. I've put on 480K this year already, knowing that I could get back into it again, being from my chair, or getting into hand cycling, or any type of sport for that matter. It just totally motivated me that there was actually things or sports like that available for the disabled. And it just sincerely motivated me to persevere in anything in life. What got me so inspired about riding my bike from Stettler to Red Deer was spinal cord injury. Alberta has been a huge motivating factor to how I look at life. And I, for the last 3 years, have wanted to do something like this, but I never knew how to persevere it or pursue it. So I phoned spinal cord injury one day and just asked him if I could have the opportunity to make this happen. So then they said, absolutely, bud. And I ended up getting 3 of my buddies. We got everything figured out. From Stettler to Red Deer is about 92 kilometers. We rode through 3.5 out of 5 hours of pouring, drenching rain. But that didn't stop us. We made her happen. And the feeling of actually making it happen instead of thinking about making it happen was such an amazing feeling to me, because we ended up stopping here at the Walmart South here in Red Deer. That's where our final destination was. But arriving there was an unreal feeling, because we all knew we had accomplished a goal that I've wanted to accomplish for a long time already. And we ended up raising $7,500 for Spinal Cord Injury Alberta. And that just meant so much to me that I could help them out in some way. I remember the most beautiful feeling was when I had a fella, he was with Spinal Cord Injury Alberta, named Doug Manderville. He was in a chair. He came up my ramp and we visited and chatted together for 3.5 hours in my house, because I had questions. I had no clue how I was going to be able to live my life after being able-bodied for 18 years, and it was unreal. I remember he gave me 3 tricks to stand by in life, and those 3 traits still are amazing today. And he said, you know, Scott, you got to wake up every single morning with an inspired outlook on life, allowing that inspiration to persevere into a motivating thinking pattern, as well as making that into a determined outlook to accomplish any goal in life. And ever since then, it seemed like I was able to accept the accident so much easier, just being able to work through that and have the qualities of life that Doug told me about, and I've absolutely loved it ever since. You know, when I first contacted Spinal Cord Injury about doing this bike ride, that was one thing they said too. How are you going to make this happen during this pandemic, or how are you going to make her happen? And I said, you know, I don't let this pandemic tell me that it's a challenge for me not to pursue a goal in life, because I'm inspired to make it happen. And I wouldn't say there was any challenge whatsoever making this happen, because I have a very supportive family, phenomenal supportive friends, very supportive community, and they were all behind me, all backing me to do this. And it was actually a GoFundMe that I started, and it was all mostly Stettler people that donated to it. I've always been a positive person, so even after my accident, it took me about a month to get over it, and then I was mad for about a month. But then I thought you have 2 choices in life, and them choices are you either become bitter or better. And I chose to be better, as it just seemed like such a phenomenal thing to do. But to me, it's all about a choice. And it seems like when I can simply choose to be an inspiration or a motivator to my friends or family, life is so beautiful, because there's nothing I worry about. Like, I've been in the chair so long, it's just normal to me. I don't even think about it.
How do I get in it?
Oh, it's just very simplified bike. It's awesome. You just throw your cheeks right here, and then your legs sit right in here in the bracket part.
I'll get in it first, and then you'll have to show me kind of how the brakes work and stuff.
Caution.
we got insurance for this.
Oh, that's right.
Alright, see, how do I see if I can get my leg over? That's gonna be.
Yeah,
Come on. What if I get in on the other side? That might be
Yeah,
really
you can
easy.
try that.
Try that.
Yes, you want to just hold the front or hold the line up, hold your back here. Hey, but straighten this out here.
Because I know my one leg is a little bit more agile. You always find a way, Scott.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Right in there, yeah.
Oh, this is actually this is surprisingly comfortable. Wow. Okay, so
Yeah, and you probably want to pull yourself back more.
all right.
Like against the back part here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So now I'm sitting straight up. Okay.
Oh yeah, there, yeah. And you just hang on.
Okay, so
And then don't. This here is a brake, but it doesn't work, so you'll have to use this one up here.
okay.
You just push down on that one.
Okay, should I now are glasses recommended to stay on?
Oh
Or
yeah, you betcha.
what kind of you said this gets up to like what, 40 kilometers
Well,
an
yeah,
hour?
up to 58 kilometers an hour.
All right,
yeah.
well, I'm gonna go a little slow.
Because it's like riding a snowmobile. You got to move into the
Never-
way you're turning.
Never done that either.
Okay.
You don't go into the river. I mean, the lake.
Yeah, how quick does this thing, like,
Well, it
how do I
turns-
turn it?
Here, just try turning
oh,
it
hold
so
on.
you kind of have an idea.
Oh, so I have to shift my weight.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got to shift your weight to the left or
Oh,
right
but
side.
actually, this is pretty, this is.
Or do you want to start out on the there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see how it goes, and then I'll try and get onto a flat section. And
Yeah.
I mean, if we crash and burn, we'll learn.
Oh, that's
So,
right.
Hit that brake, hit that brake.
Now this here is a brake, but it doesn't work.
Here, I could get my brother to come push you a bit. It does take a bit to get used to it. Yeah. Cycling is so much fun, but when you look at the price tag initially, a person says, how am I going to do this? And the thing that made it so amazing with me was my community actually did a fundraising auction to put together money for my $7,000 bike. And I've actually, within the last 5 years, have done 2 fundraisers for local people who have wanted bikes like that and raised money for them. But other than that, that's just one of the biggest things is the price tag on them, that people can't believe they cost that much to have fun or get that nice feeling of having adaptive sports available in the community. Okay. Just knowing that I have my bike is such a beautiful feeling. It feels like freedom to me because I feel that I can take on the whole world, and I feel that just because a person's in a chair, that should not stop them from accomplishing any goal, or should not stop them from living a beautiful lifestyle that only comes from a choice of making that determination happen.
I love hearing people share all these amazing stories. And if you thought that was cool, Let's hear Macrina's story. Macrina is somebody that I met in university, and she plays basketball, but she also does CrossFit and a whole bunch of different sports. She's kind of a multi-sport athlete. So let's hear her story and find out why she loves sports.
My name is Macrina, and I've really played adaptive sport my entire life. Started skiing when I was young, and that was my introduction into sport. And from there, it just continued many different sports. So I live with cerebral palsy. So that's a physical disability which impacts the spasticity in my legs. And so playing able-bodied sport just wasn't quite right. I was slower, not able to run, not able to keep up. And so adaptive sport really gave me the movement and the ability to play sport, to meet people, to compete. Gosh, I have played many sports. Played baseball, sledge hockey, wheelchair basketball, skiing. And I have to say, skiing is probably my favorite sport. I've been skiing for a number of years. And, I started with my dad at Canada Olympic Park, now known as Winsport. And I've done stand-up skiing, sit skiing. I've even tried lately skiing with a monoboard, which is absolutely fantastic. The monoboard it looks like a snowboard, but it's not. So your ski boots are put in on a horizontal way. And so I wear ski boots, but it is one board, so it sort of looks like a snowboard, but I would argue that it's not snowboarding. Oh gosh, when you're on that monoboard and you can just float in the powder, with that monoboard, this is sort of the first few years where I've actually been able to enjoy powder and just float across the slopes, because when I was racing, I was on really heavy skis and they don't do very good in powder. So really the monoboard has reduced the chance for injury or re-injury, but also just allows for that smoothness down the slopes. So one of the challenges when I was learning about ski racing was hitting the gates. Now you're going relatively fast and you're expected to hit these gates with your body. Now, as I was learning, I was getting gates on my forehead, across the shoulders, in the chest, on the knees. But again, that whole concept of not today, but maybe tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, I was able to see progress over a few seasons in being able to hit those gates and get close enough to them without falling, and being able to make it from the top to the bottom in a race course. One thing that's really great about the sport of wheelchair basketball is they work on a classification system. So based on someone's ability or disability, they have a certain point. And you're only allowed so many points on the court at a time. So the coaches and the teams, they have to decide who's on the court at one time. So you can't have all your more able-bodied athletes on the court at one time. That's not possible. So you really have to find the right number of points to play on the court in order to be as successful as possible. That is something that exists in wheelchair basketball that I think really helps even out the playing fields, regardless of if you're playing within cities, provincially, nationally, or internationally. I am a short, low-class player. I think one of the big things, especially within Team Alberta and the Canada Winter Games team, is with respect to the classification, every person has their role. You're not everyone's the top shooter, the top defense, the top scorer. You have a role. And I think that's another value that comes out, is you find your role, you find your niche, you find what you're good at. At Canada Winter Games, I wasn't the top shooter, I wasn't the fastest player, but I was focused on the next play. I was keeping the team positive on and off the bench. I think my highest achievement in sport was bronze medal at the Canada Winter Games in 2015 in Prince George. We were a team from members from across the province, and we made it to the bronze medal game, and we came out winning. And it was definitely a big moment that I'm proud of. If someone approached me and said that they wanted to try sport and we were a little bit nervous, I would probably encourage them to try it with someone else, right? If it's a sport that I was playing, I'd say let's go play sledge hockey. Let's go play wheelchair basketball. Let's give it a try. Let's give it a go. Many para sports are always looking for athletes. And so sometimes they do have like try it days, right? So being able to find something where there might be some other folks that are new to the sport and are able to try it would be something that I would encourage. I think I would also share with them, right? If you don't like it, that's okay, right? You're trying some different things to find out what fits, because I think there has to be that passion, there has to be that love for that game, and one of those values, you love what you're doing, have fun. If you're not having fun, why do it? I think the great thing about parasport is it's really inclusive to everyone. Everyone can play. So if you're an able-bodied folk, you can get into that basketball chair. You can get into that sledge hockey. You could try that sit ski if you'd like. You can do that. And what that does is that puts you on the same playing field as your friends, as your family, as your brother, as your sister who might have a disability. I think it's important to give it a try. Whether you're able-bodied or you have a disability, you'll find out what works, right? I tried cross-country skiing once. Now, the sit ski that I was in didn't quite work, so I'm thinking not ever again. But the great thing about adaptive sport is it is flexible. So I'm thinking if I can find a different setup for my cross-country ski, it might be more successful when I try it again. But it's really about learning and trying things out. Very quickly, you can learn what is okay, what isn't okay, what you need to modify, what you need to change to be able to perform your best. As I sit and ponder what my life would be like without adaptive sport, it'd probably be more lonely. It would probably be less exciting. I mean, I've been able to meet other people, folks with disability and folks without. I've been able to travel. I've been able to see different parts of Canada because of the sports I've played in, whether that was a basketball gym in Saskatchewan or Whistler in BC. A sense of community is really what transpires out of adaptive sport, and without that, hard to say.
Well, that was really awesome hearing those stories. But, you know, one thing that's not talked about very often in sports is the combination of mental health and sports. And during the filming of this project, I actually lost a friend of mine, Shandon, due to suicide. And I was talking to Brian, who runs a organization that focuses on coaching and mental health in sports and team building. So I wanted to connect with him and find out why mental health awareness is important to him. This project is dedicated to Shannon Ransom, who I really love and miss a lot. Brent, tell me about yourself and how long you've been involved with sledge hockey.
I obtained a spinal cord injury in 1998, and shortly after that, moving back to Red Deer, I was in rehab in Calgary for a little over a year after my injury, and trying to find something to, bring myself back into a recreation sport area after being in a wheelchair. I found it somewhat difficult connecting with Spinal Cord Injury Alberta and multiple other people. There wasn't really any programs in the area. In 2005, myself, Brian Innes, and Doug Manderfield started the Central Alberta Sledge Hockey Association and formed the first sledge hockey program in Red Deer.
We started doing some marketing and reaching out to people that were disabled in Central Alberta, and of course Brent had lots of connections there. So we started the league, got some funding and purchased the equipment. It was a lot of fun, it was hard work. All the players were just thrilled to be in that league and to be on the team, and we're passionate about the sport as well. It was pretty exciting. I think we went to the Western Finals and won that in our last year, I believe.
that unfortunately ceased to exist in around 2010, I believe was the season that we had to shut the program down due to funding. I think that one of the biggest things with adaptive sports is that it can bring in people who aren't disabled or physically limited in a way, and it brings them down to a similar or an equal playing field. And that's the nice thing about things like sledge hockey and basketball, because it's not able-bodied people competing with disabled people. It's everybody using the same equipment and doing the same things, and so it makes an equal playing field, and maybe makes somebody who would be disabled that felt inferior be more well-equipped to be able to do that, creating a more positive mental health attribute in themselves.
Shortly after moving here in 2002, I started up the Red Deer Pond Hockey League, and it was because my son had severe hemophilia, which is a very disability illness, and he loved playing hockey, but at the age of 10, he could no longer play in Red Deer Minor Hockey because that became hit hockey, and it was just too dangerous for him to play that. So we started up that league to, not just for Al, but for other players and families that had barriers, whether it was physical, mental, they didn't have the money, maybe they were new immigrants to town and they didn't know the sport, and they'd have a hard time fitting into an existing league. And that became very popular, and to this day it's a large, one of the larger sports organizations in Red Deer, and is doing well, which I think speaks to, again, that I think the more you can open up sport to people, the more people will play, right? And the more you remove the barriers to sport, the more people will play and find joy in that. I know there was organizations that they required a tax form to be filled out before they fund a family's sports registration fee or anything, and we made it clear from the start that we'll trust that family. If they need the money, they tell us they need the money, we'll pay that fee for them without any forms, just trusting in that they were being honest with us, and I'm sure 99% of them were. So I think that was probably the key to our success, was that we eliminated barriers for families and individuals to play sports. My son Alex loved playing hockey. That's why we started the Pond Hockey League, and we lost him to suicide in May of 2019. And so we knew a couple things. As a family, we needed to do something to stop other families from going through this ordeal, this torture, this devastation. But also that we needed to help coaches to be able to recognize mental health signs in their players, and to be sensitive to the mental health of their players. And because Al loved playing hockey, it was a natural route for us to go, is to focus on the coaches and provide them the training, not only on mental health and suicide awareness, but even how to build a healthy relationship with their players, how to be careful what you say on the ice, and about having integrity in the dressing room and on the ice, and that the players would see that. So the coaches aren't just teaching them, this is about mental health and you need to do it, but the coaches need to have that, be able to show that to their players, by being kind and loving and aware, and not just to focus on the wins and the losses, but just on, maybe as easy as a conversation after a game to say, wow, we lost that game, so how do you guys feel about that? There's lots of little conversations you can have with players where, number one, coaches are probably one of the most trusted people in those players' lives, and it's quite possible that, and I know it from experience, that parents would be upset with their kids if they lost a game, And so I think it was key for the coaches to at least support their players as they leave the ice, as they leave the arena, that they feel good about how they played, even if it was a loss, or even if they played badly. But it's not that big of a deal, right? We'll get better next game. But so they're encouraged by playing sports, and don't feel pressure to perform at a high level if they're there just to play for the fun of it. I think sports needs to be. There's a need for high-level sports, and I don't think we'll ever change that. But even in those high-level sports, in the NHL and other major leagues, they're starting to see the value of mental health training for their coaches. So we're excited about that, and hopefully it's a new era of just kids and even adult players finding joy with their team.
What was it like for you playing sledge hockey for the first time? I know it's a big core workout. Can you talk about the experience and what it was like for you?
It was so hard. I don't know. I think it's the hardest sport I've ever played. It's the hardest piece of equipment I ever sat on. Have you? I don't know if you've tried it or been. Yeah. Yeah. Did you? Wow. My hat's off to you. I mean, I was not.
I wasn't good.
Well, I certainly wasn't good either, and it's funny because I was never a great hockey player either, but I love coaching. So I think this, maybe that's another thing people need to know, is you don't have to be the best player to be a good coach. If you have a passion for it. But yeah, the sledges are just so hard, and the stick handling and doing a shot and getting up when you fall over. For me, physically able to do that, I struggled. I needed help sometimes to get up off the ice when the sledge went sideways. So, but it was fun.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like people to know about, whether it's adaptive sport or about your organization, programs you run, to make them more aware of what it is that you do?
Well, I could put a shameless plug in for Team Alex. You can go to our website, teamalex.ca, and get a better idea of what we do. They could support us and other like-minded organizations like ourselves to really start to make a difference in especially minor sports leagues in Red Deer, in Alberta, in Canada, and beyond. I think our vision at Team Alex is a world without suicide, and so that includes not just Red Deer, but growing this to hopefully impact people around the world with their mental health. So we think it's really important, the work we do, and we're always looking for board members and funding and to further our cause.
My name's Nick Thielen, and I'm here today to try some adaptive wrestling.
This is Massive Damage, the Tattooed Terminator, and we're gonna show you some professional wrestling.
I don't think this was a good idea! Oh my God! This was a terrible idea!
There we go, young fella. Now you're gonna find out what the massive leg drop feels like. That's why they call me the Tattooed Terminator. That's right. I'm the very best. Oh! Oh.
You never underestimate me!